Hey, Jen, how's it going?
It's going pretty well, all things considered, Kyle. How are you doing?
Same. Working from home, so doing the pod from the house. So could hear some background noise. I apologize, but I'm
That's
sure
okay.
most of our audience is in the same category, so they
I'm
get it.
sure they are. And as a full time remote employee, I will tell you that it has not been easy for us this week as well. So there's been a lot of adjustments for everybody in terms of how we're working. So good
All
luck,
right.
everyone.
Yeah, for real. So, Jen, most people you can find your work on Marketing Land, or they can follow you on Twitter at Jen Vedetta. But tell them a little bit about yourself. Tell them just kind of everything you're bringing.
Well, right now I'm actually a writer for Marketing Land and Martech Today, and I cover email marketing, email security, marketing automation, among other topics. Prior to joining the editorial team, I was on the digital marketing and operations side, so I was involved in email probably for since they've been saying email was dead around 2009, 2010. So I'm bringing a little bit over a decade of experience in email. I've seen an extreme shift in how we communicate in email, and yeah, that's where I'm coming from in terms of email. I've worked for a couple of teams in the NHL, including the Boston Bruins, where we ran some pretty intense and complicated campaigns, as you can imagine. So now, as from the coverage standpoint, I get to talk about brands and how they're doing that, and the different protocols and practices that are putting into place to keep their customers safe.
And that's kind of the big topic that we're going to talk about today, sort of the actual landscape of email security. Given the sort of times we're living in right now, I'm going to guess a lot of people are going to be communicating even more than ever via that channel and that medium. So help me just paint a little picture of like what are some of the big numbers? What is email security like right now in 2020?
Well, last year we have reports that are coming out of the FBI from the Internet Crime Complaint Center that are saying that in 2019 we had about an average of 1,300 different kind of attacks or complaints actually coming through every single day. And that led to about $3.5 billion in losses to individuals and business victims. Those are two of the really shocking numbers that we can look at. Overall, it was close to 500,000 complaints that they received, but you can also assume that most of those complaints are not actually, more people are not complaining, I should say, with the FBI. And one of the problems that we're seeing with that is when people are hacked and when these attacks occur, they're usually not exposed for more than 6 months. So once a hacker is in your email, they're usually in there for over 6 months before you even realize it.
Jeez. That so what is it? Talk to me a little bit. What does an actual hack kind of look like? Because I feel like most people think of it as this huge, like all of a sudden you go to email and it's like, ha ha ha, you didn't say the magic word. Like this ain't Jurassic Park. What's an actual email hack look like in real life?
Well, it's getting really sophisticated and it's getting harder and harder for, I'd say, victims to really spot the red flags to tell what's real and what's fake right now. There's been a really big shift to business email compromise, which is essentially when somebody takes over your email account and starts sending emails on your behalf. So, for example, last year, I received an email from my CEO who I didn't we didn't typically email each other on a regular basis, but he asked me if I could go out to the store and pick up $1,000 gift cards for Amazon for a campaign that we were going to do. He signed it with his name, and the fact that he was sitting across the room from me, though, made me realize sounds a little fishy. No pun
A very
intended.
passive aggressive.
Yeah, a little passive aggressive or weird.
Like,
Um,
okay.
so the fact that it came from him, his name, his email address, and if I didn't know that he was in the office and if I didn't check in and follow up, what if I did go and put down $1,000 and buy those Amazon gift cards thinking that I'd be reimbursed and come back to the office and find out that no, somebody actually hacked his email, sent that out to all of his contacts, 10 other people did it. So that individual ends up with actual money from you, and that's just on a small scale. That's just like an individual case of what could happen, and that's pretty scary to think about. Just the fact that you could be targeted that way by somebody that you know.
Yeah, and I think the thing to kind of definitely outline is that like it's not like the hacker saying go buy a physical product and then go to this shady location and give it to someone who's not your CEO. There, it's the requests are something that's a digital, and it sounds reasonable enough sometimes.
Right.
Right?
Well, last year the report that I referred to, it's the IC3 report, actually saw an increase in the number of business email compromise complaints related to the diversion of payroll funds. So in these schemes, people's human resources departments were getting emails looking like they were coming from employees saying, "I want to update my direct deposit," and the HR department at a large company is going to say, okay, they check the box, they go ahead and do that for the employee, but instead they're really changing the routing to go to a criminal instead of an employee.
Yeah, actually, that's insane because I've actually recently heard of that happening to someone that I know, where that exact same thing they thought that they're like, this is weird, but yeah, I guess I want to get paid. So if the direct deposit changed up, I'll just okay, here you go. But that's scary to say the least. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you wouldn't even know that. I mean, how would you know that that was updated unless you wait and you just don't get your paycheck? That's the only way that you'll find out, right?
Yeah, no, that's actually how it happened.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was
Wow.
the buddy was like, yeah, so this is fun." But I mean, it's not just CEOs, and they don't start with the CEO and they start with the HR. They get in through individuals, right?
Right. So
So
they could get in through, if there's a shared computer with an admin email address or something like that. I actually spoke to we call them white hat hackers, the friendly hackers who will go into businesses as consultants and they will try to hack their systems. And a white hat hacker that I know, they tried to penetrate one company for months and months and months, and finally they were able to do so with an admin email that had been assigned to a printer somewhere in one of their offices. And just getting into that admin email that nobody checked because it was just to have the email for the printer, they were able to get into the entire system for the company through that one email.
jeez. Yeah, I remember a while back at an older company where like they mentioned that they're like, yeah, the printers are unsecure, but most of the, like from what you're hearing, what you're experiencing, it's not just CEOs or like HR or the printers and the technology. I mean, they're really looking for a way in anywhere, right?
Right. And that's what a lot of people really need to understand is that, you know, who wants to hack into Jen Cannon's email? Nobody, right? Nobody cares what I have to say. But they're not looking for my email. They're looking for an email that they can penetrate. So if you think of how a neighborhood burglar operates, they case the street and they look and see who's not locking their windows and doors, and they're going to break in where they can. And they'll take what they can. It doesn't matter if you live in the biggest house on the street or if you live in an apartment building.
Right. They're
Um,
not looking at the McAllister house because they're trying to figure out how a dad affords that giant of a house with that many kids. Like they're going for anything.
exactly.
That's a Home Alone reference.
Yes.
Jurassic Park and Home Alone. I'm kind of losing my mind during this quarantine.
But the more references that we can make to pop culture as it relates to email, the better.
Just 90s pop culture though. But yeah, essentially they're just going. So kind of if you email a lot, you're almost at more of a risk because it is that you just happen to have more chances. Am I correct?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. If I'll use myself as an example, I receive emails all day long from people that I don't know because as a reporter, I'm getting pitches and they always send attachments and they always send links. And most of the time, even though I know that I shouldn't be doing this, I will just click on it because I am assuming that it is coming from who it says it is. And, you know, I really, I want to emphasize to everybody the importance of really checking to make sure that the sender that you are opening an email from look at the actual address. Don't just look at the name that's coming through, and make sure that it is who they say they are.
Yeah, and that's the whole kind of the big thing. The reason I wanted to bring you on here, right? My audience, kind of the shipper audience, is sending a lot of emails, and they've got to work fast, especially given the current climate we're in. They don't have that opportunity a lot of times to check. So aside from kind of organizational best practices and what kind of companies should be doing, what's an individual kind of should be doing? Can you give a couple of tips from that point of view of what an individual, how do they stay diligent and kind of keep themselves safe, especially because, hey, if you're working from home, your IT staff can't come and just quickly fix something for you. Like, what's something that they can kind of be doing?
Well, one thing that I will say is, if you receive an email from anybody at your company that seems a little suspicious, just give them a call. Don't email them back. Pick up the phone and give them a call, and make sure that that email is in fact coming from them. And be vigilant about that, and encourage your coworkers and your friends and family to do that as well. Like I said, checking the sender's name. If you're on your phone and you open up your email, you can click on the sender's name and it will show you their email address. Make sure that the email address is the one that you have for that person. And then lastly, if you do open an email, from anybody that you don't know, and they have a link or a document in it, do not click on that link and do not open the document, because that will expose you to risk factors that could potentially destroy your business. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO or if you're, if you're mopping the halls, you could bring down the entire company.
And the big thing is, like you said, it's not immediate. It's 6 months of you did this and you had no idea, and little things are being set up in the background because they've just got access to everything.
Right. On average.
On average. Yeah.
So
yeah. Good luck. Jen, honestly, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. How can people get in contact with you? How can they connect with you if they have more questions of kind of what they should be doing to stay diligent?
Well, like you mentioned, if anybody wants to reach out to me on Twitter, you can do so at Jen Videtta. That's Videtta, Videtta. Or you can email me at jcannon@thirddoormedia.com. And I'd be more than happy to jump on a call or answer any questions that you have, or even put you in touch with some cybersecurity experts who could help you and look at your business and help you put things in place that could help protect you from this.
Absolutely. And to make it easy, I'm going to include in the show notes kind of all the links, because you did get married, so that's kind of why it's fun with the name change and all that stuff.
Sure is.
All right, Jen, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Kyle. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
You too, and stay healthy.
You too. Bye. Have some tips for email security that we didn't touch on? Leave a comment on this video and let me know. In the meantime, enjoy past episodes of Consulting Logistics and subscribe to us by clicking the subscription button. Thanks for watching Consulting Logistics. I'm Kyle McNaught. Peace.